Love getting blindsided. Oh, it's fantastic. It's a whole new world for me. I don't know. I didn't know what to feel after it happened.
All right, everybody. We are here with Bobby, third voted out. He lasted 9 days, felt much longer, but it lasted 9 days out there in Port Royal, 37th season of iSurvivor. So it was pretty much 24 hours ago you were getting your torch snuffed. We'll talk about the
Yeah.
game. Bring me back to that moment, Bobby. What was going through your head is like, one vote, not so bad. Second vote, okay, your eyebrows raising. Third and fourth and fifth, it's just like, okay, yeah, that's a blind side. What was going through your mind?
Okay. So first vote, I knew was coming. The second vote, I was like, okay, something's up, but it's probably JB throwing a vote at me. Once the third vote came up, I knew I was blindsided. Like that was it. I started clapping. I mean, at that point, once the third vote comes up, I knew it was me because I should have known. My ego blinded me for the last, I would say, 48 hours before I was voted out. I should have seen I saw all the red flags. I just thought I was invincible. I've never been eliminated. I've always been dominating. So I automatically assumed this group of people was just going to do exactly what I told them to again. And I should have known that this is a different group of people that I'm used to playing with. A lot of them do not actually like strategizing. There are a lot of social people on my tribe. So when I would pitch out ideas, it would look foreign and people would be like, wow, that's really smart. And I think that was my hubris, is I had a lot of good ideas. It came off as dangerous. And then of course, when I found the 35 gold, and I would constantly get the gold every single day. And then I got the idol. Yeah, I mean, that pretty much sealed my fate. And everyone started just agreeing with me on all my calls. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. The only thing I regret is I wish I would have went with my gut earlier that day when I said, maybe I should talk to JB. And I was like, nah, I don't need to talk to JB. But had I talked to JB and said, yeah, I'm probably going to get rid of Nate, I believe JB probably would have tipped me off and told me that Livy probably threw out my name. And had that happened, you would have been in for a juicy blindside, because I would have played my idol and I would have voted out Livingston. And I'd still be in the game, but we got to live by the mistakes we make. So
You mentioned it a little bit. What is your theory on how it played out?
I think everyone kind of was able to pinpoint. I mean, Benji staying in the game really was a detriment to me, because he was able to exploit a lot of the distrust that I had between me and him. Because I'm the one that blindsided him, he was able to tell his story, which I think in return kind of gave people maybe a little bit of distrust with me. It also didn't help that I would be planting seeds in everybody's head about each other, just to kind of make sure that they were closer with me than closer with each other. And I think they kind of knew what I was doing. I was hoping they wouldn't. But like when I would be telling Max, we've got a final two, I'm going to feed you everything. And then I would be telling Max as well. I'd be telling Max and Rachel, you need threats in front of you as shields. And I'd basically be correlating that to me. And then I would be telling Livingston, like, hey, people are going to view us as the biggest threats. The rest of the people in our alliance, they're not really threatening. And I was actually telling the truth there. I mean, Livingston needs to watch out now that I'm gone. I think he got a little too bloodlust, because in reality, Livingston's going to be one of the next biggest threats. You better keep Benji in front of him, because Livingston's not going to make it long in this game. You think people are going to take out Megan, Taisha, Nay over Livingston? There's a reason why I gave Livingston that idol. I respect him on a strategic level. I want to see him go a little farther. And I know that out of everyone there, he's the most logical to use the idol correctly. So, I mean, for me, I'm pretty sure it was a combination of everything that I was doing, but I was playing at such a higher caliber than everybody else, and my strategic mindset was on a level I don't think most of them could comprehend, except for maybe Livingston and Benji. So I think a lot of them were intimidated. They were and especially with me having the idol, so in my social game. So I think they thought, you know what, we just have to take him out now while we still can. There's no point in keeping him around. And they knew they had to seal it down. Like, they knew they had to make sure everybody was on the right page, because if one person had come back to me to talk to me about the idol, it would have been done. Like, I would have been playing it. I would be blindsiding some people. So, I mean, they got me. They pulled the only move that was possible to get me out, which is make sure that everyone is on board with taking me out. And that's my own fault for not securing any possible super allies. A lot of social players, not enough strategists on my tribe. I feel like if I had been on the Calico tribe, I would have dominated. It would have been a lot better for me. But the Blackbeard tribe has a lot more passive players, a lot more social players, and that's not really my jive. I need to strategically be able to converse with people. I don't really talk to people on a social level. So having to find things in common with people on a social level was actually really hard for me this time around. And I feel like people were annoyed that I would talk strategy a lot. So yeah, I think that's what happened.
It appeared like throughout your stint out there, you were quite open with your alliance about certain things. Like when you found the idol, you were open about it. Oh, sorry, you froze. So, you're still there? You can hear me? You can see me? I mean, not see me, but you can hear me? Yeah. So you
Yep.
were quite open with things that some other Survivor players on TV and in the past of this series, that they probably would have kept that information to themselves. And even with, like you said, like your ideas and strategies, you were very open with your alliance about like things that were going through your head strategically. What was the intention in being so open with things that sometimes are kept under wraps a little bit?
Okay, so in all four of my other orgs that I've ever played, they were high stakes orgs. Like, what I mean is they're heralded by their creators as like the best of their series and such, because of the level of gameplay. And every org org, I would hide in plain sight. It worked for me 4 times in a row. I assumed it would work again, but yeah, hiding in plain sight was always one of my strategies, to make sure all my intentions were known, but my other intentions not so much known. Just, you give people honest info and they think you're giving them everything. And that's kind of there. My alliance to see I was a trustworthy ally. Like I said, I wouldn't have betrayed any of them until they tried to betray me, because there would be no point. I knew I was the biggest threat. I knew I probably had the best shot to win out of them all, if it came down to it, at the pace I was playing. So I never had a reason to want to go back and betray any of them. But hiding in plain sight is just something I've done for 4 seasons in a row of orgs, and it's worked perfectly for me in every single one. I've dominated every single one, like start to finish. Some of the moves were just insane that I pull off. And so yeah, I thought I'd be able to do the same thing again. And looks like the three on you know, 4 times in a row of luck where I'm making it to the end. It was inevitable that there would be that time where I crashed out early, because with how I play the game, you are either going to people are going to make up their minds about you, and that's the thing with the way I play. It's a risk reward. It's a gamble. It's so with how I play, people are going to give me absolute trust, and I would go away. Or absolutely intimidated by me, and I would burn out early. Those were the only two options. There was no, we're going to get rid of him around here. No. They're either going to be super intimidated and I'm out early, or I'm going all the way and I'm winning. Well, maybe not winning, I get second quite a bit. I'm going all the way to the final three. The anomaly of the bunch that was intimidated and did not want everyone to be out. No. Gotta go. I don't. If he's a threat, and so like I took the gamble. It worked for me 4 times more. Didn't be a big burst. And so, it's just how it is. It's how the strategy works.
All right. Thinking back on your time, what was a highlight for you? What's something that you're gonna remember, whether it be like a call or anything?
I think the best thing I'll remember, honestly, was that 24 comp. That was actually addicting. Like, it was actually fun. I thought it was gonna be the most boring fucking thing ever. I wanted to die. But if I were to come back and play again, I actually wouldn't want to sit out. It was hilarious to be one that was actually dominating for my tribe when I have the shittiest fucking internet probably of all of us. Hilarious. I think the unique competitions, the unique twists by the absolute of the series, I think is an absolute highlight. I don't really take anything away from say the players. I don't. There's like I said, if I were to say, I would say this is one of the weaker casts in terms of, obviously not in terms of gameplay, but in terms of just me liking them. Yeah, I think it's on the weak like them. But in terms of how good the cast is, I definitely would say it's the best cast I've competed against. Yeah, I would say it's probably the best cast, maybe second best. I mean, my second org was had a really good cast, so I'd probably first or second best. So it was a really good cast, but there was too many social players and not enough strategists, and I just happened to get put on the social tribe, and I think I sealed my fate by the way that I went to take out Anthony. I should have thought more on it, and I should have pushed heavily more for like Missy or Nay. If I had got Missy or Nay out first, I would probably still be in the game. But because I took out a huge threat right away, Benji was safe. Benji was able to thrash me. Benji was a social threat. Benji had all that safety around him. See, Anthony wasn't a social threat, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but people actually liked Benji. So with Benji being super safe, it really came back to bite me, because my big thing is I always usually take out the person I try to, the biggest social threat right away, and I couldn't do that with Benji, so I had to try a new method, and that new method came back to bite me. Yeah, so it's what it is.
Okay. Okay. I know you talked about what you thought like went wrong, or what your theory was in terms of what happened at tribal and stuff. But if you could pinpoint one mistake or a regret, what is it?
One mistake or regret. One mistake or regret. One mistake or regret. I think my one mistake or regret would have to be not talking to JB. I know if I had talked to JB, because I naturally can get along with people. If I had talked to JB, I saw him, he usually would smile and maybe, laugh a little bit. Some of the stuff I said, if I had actually had a genuine conversation with JB like I had originally intended to, and I had actually talked to him and said, yeah, I'm probably going to vote out nay, I guarantee he probably would have told me they were going to blindside me. And I would have been able to switch the whole game around. I would have been able to blindside Livingston. And then that would only mean I'd probably have to compete against Benji in the mental comp, and I would have probably a really good chance at winning this immunity tomorrow, and I would have probably been able to take out like Rachel or Max next. So, yeah, my biggest regret was not talking to JB. Had I talked to JB, this would have been a completely different situation. You know,
So now that you're out, who are you rooting for? One person in each tribe, and why?
one team of each tribe and why. I mean, on Calico, God, I don't like any of them. I really don't. Like, Calico was so boring. They really were. They were really a fucking boring tribe. And then JD came over that stupid ass speech. Like, ugh. What Calico? Ugh. Maybe I'll go with Bree. I'll say Bree. I'll root for Bree. And then on my tribe, Livingston, easy. Even though I probably would credit him the most with getting rid of me, I can respect Livingston's game the most because Livingston's mind works the most like mine out of all the rest of the cast. So for me personally, I think Livingston is that's why I gave him the idol. Honestly, I think he's the only one that knows how to use it correctly. Because just because you have an idol doesn't mean you're going to use it right. I don't want it to go to waste. I want Livingston to make a move with it. So, let's see what Livingston can do. I want him to prove that without me as a shield, that he can dominate this game and make it to the end and win. If he can, kudos to him. Then I can honestly you shouldn't have taken me out. This is what I was talking about. But yeah.
And I have one other question. If Rocky wants to ask you some, he hopped on. He's here. I'm not sure how much he's heard. But for any future player who watches this exit interview when all of the footage is revealed at the end, what is some words of advice from now you are an alumni, you are a veteran and a iSurv1vor. What is your advice to a potential player?
Never be afraid to make big moves, but always remember how people are going to perceive you. You have to look at it from two angles. You have to look at the aftermath, and you have to look at how to execute it. Once you know how to execute a move and you have it all jotted down in your head, you have to also remember what's going to be the aftermath of it. How are people going to perceive you after the move is all said and done? Because it's easy to look at a move and jot it all down and then execute it and it's done. But now you have to deal with what happens after. How do you handle what happens after? And you have to be ready for those after. You should have just about every possible scenario down in your list of possibilities. If you don't, you're going to wind up just like me. Because I should have rethunk how I went about the Anthony situation. I shouldn't have put all the blame on Anthony. But I don't think I was given much of a choice, when Anthony wanted to make that alliance with Nay and Missy. And then I also knew just by Anthony's mannerisms, he didn't want to take me far. Benji had immunity. So I had to pretty much put all my trust into the other side. And it came back to bite me a little bit. So make sure that what you do in the game, you understand what you're doing, because everything is going to have a reaction to your action. It's just how it works. So you have to understand every move, and you have to understand what branches off from those moves. Every little thing you say is going to be held against you. Every action is going to be held against you. Even your mannerisms are going to be held against you. So don't play with regrets, but be smart about it. Think 24/7 if you have to.
Actually, really great advice, Bobby. Well said. Yeah. Do you have any final words? Anything else you want to say?
Oh, what a good fucking series it was. I mean, with how short-lived it was, it's kind of sucked. I mean, I kind of want to go back in time and maybe fail on one of my other orgs so I can make it far on this one. But I mean, out of all the orgs I could have failed on, it had to be the fucking best one, which sucks. So
would you play again, Bobby?
What?
Would you play again?
I'm sorry, what?
Would you play again?
Oh, would I play again? The more I have had time to calm down, once I get my health back in order, because I just had a recent health problem just about 3 days ago. So once I get that all fixed, once that's all fixed, I mean, now that I've had time to calm down, and my ego has tried to convince itself that it didn't happen, that I got voted out. I'm able to come back into the fold a little bit and be like, okay, you know what? This was bound to happen. So my whole retirement shit, it's not plausible. It really isn't. I say that after every single time I play. First time I played, I was like, I'm done. I'm retired. I'm over it. Then I played again. And then after, I'm absolutely done. After my third time, this is it. After the fourth time, I am over it all.
I kind of know a few people like that, and they might work right in hand with me to create this production.
I mean,
I am retired right now.
Drew, you and Drew both say the same thing. You're just like, Bobby.
It was just, I like to have fun. I don't like to be fucking boring. I like to have fun with production. I like having fun with the players. People have to be all serious all the time. Like when I'm sitting in a call after the first tribal and everyone's just staring at each other, I'm like, yeah, let's cut the bullshit, people. We all know what's about to happen. We're going to be like, oh, Mom, you're calling me to dinner? Okay, bye. I got to get off call, guys. And then we're all going to get into strategy chats. And then everyone's just still looking at each other. I'm like, just stop. You cut the bullshit. This is stupid. But yeah, I would absolutely play again. But my issue is I wouldn't play again on something lesser. It has to be something better. So when it comes to Big Brother, I
mean specifically, if we invited you back to play again, would you play again?
Yeah, I kind of figured that question would come up. Because I consider a series top tier, and I don't see anything ever being above it. So with that being a point, not want to stay. Yeah. So if you ask me back, yeah, I'd be back.
Yay, Bobby. I said this to my production team, and I can say it to you. I think I said this to you when you messaged me last night. I feel like we we were slightly just robbed of more of the trouble and chaos and dramatics and big
If I
moves.
was,
Yeah, I just feel like we were robbed of your presence in a
if
way. But such is the game of Survivor. But what you did bring to the game was absolutely amazing. Like,
that was what you saw was probably the mildest of stuff I've pulled off. Like if I was actually to get my footing into the game and I was actually able to get like trusted allies around me and I was able to actually get deeper in this game, you would have seen moves that you didn't think were possible and I'd be pulling them off with ease. And you'd all be like, whoa. You'd be like, no, this is a one-time occurrence. And I'd be like, no. I've pulled this off in 4 different orgs. I'll pull off like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different moves in like every season. I even had a little boot list chart on all my seasons. I think I've like blindsided over 50 people. So, I mean, yeah, you guys were robbed, I believe, because you barely got to lick the ice cream. Like your tongue barely just like touched the top of it. You guys didn't get the full flavor of what I was actually capable of, because this types of tricks and schemes I would have pulled would have been absolutely fucking hilarious. And if I had just
well,
stayed,
who knows the future may hold? Who knows what the future may hold? Like, maybe we will see you around these parts again, around people who have played this before. Maybe they're more your speed.
weird. That sounds a lot like a returnee season. And I know I'm not all-star material, so I can't.
Maybe.
I'm not all-star material, so I
Bobby,
can.
Bobby, it has been a pleasure. Like, honestly, dude, it's been such a pleasure. Really hope you enjoyed yourself. Sorry it was short-lived. Um,
I got
yeah,
a question.
you've been a star. Yeah, of course.
Usually these exit interviews, production, because I've viewed exit interviews before, and they always reveal stuff. You guys are being really vague with your questions. I'm just saying, I'm starting to think that maybe I should go out and get the merge items, because it's starting to sound just maybe a little bit like the banishment. I think maybe there is a returning comp. I'm possibly seeing that. Maybe I need some reconfirming, and if you give me that, who maybe there is or not.
Bobby, we cannot confirm nor deny.
Why not?
I don't know why they do this with us. Like, we're gonna
I
tell
know.
them anything.
Like, if you ask so nicely and you bat those eyes just a little bit, maybe we'll give in. Bobby, obviously we'll be hanging out with you in the pre-jury. It has been a pleasure on behalf of iSurvivor, myself, Rocky, and the entire production team. Thank you.
No problem. And you remember, if you do